Namaste and welcome to this episode of the Thursday Thoughts. And finally, they are back. We are talking about, you could guess easily, our astronauts, Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore, who were stranded. I know should not be using the word stranded because Sunita Williams herself did not want to use this word. This is a demeaning word. They were supposed to be there in the International Space Station for just 8 days, and their stay was prolonged to as long as 286 days. That is 278 days more than what it was expected to be, what it was supposed to be. So they are back and in one piece. Yeah. Sunita Williams, along with Butch Wilmore and the other two crew members, namely Nick Hague and the cosmonaut from Russia, Alexander Gubulov. So let us just have a look at how and why at all so much of expecting the whole world was looking forward to the news of their safe return to Earth. Yeah, it is quite natural if you look at the history. We had two disastrous spacecraft accidents, if you remember. One was in 1986, and the other one was on February 1st, 2003. 1986 was the Challenger, which minutes after takeoff burst into different parts, and all the crew members, 7 crew members, were burnt alive within minutes of their takeoff. And the second one, February 1st, 2003, I'm sure many of you would have seen it on live TV coverage. I had seen it. I can't call it the great opportunity. It was a miss opportunity, or it was a disastrous feeling when I saw Kalpana Chawla along with her 6 co-passengers aboard the Columbia spacecraft, Columbia, that was burst into, disintegrated into thousands of parts on re-entry. And if you look at the details of the reported defect investigation, as it is known as in the space parlance, the first one, the Challenger, was caused by the O-ring seals. O-ring seals, can you believe it? O-ring seals, because of the low temperature, got hardened and they broke apart and causing a leak. As a result, the fuel caught fire and the whole spacecraft was blasted into fumes, killing all on board. And the second case we have seen while taking off, that is of Columbia, the spacecraft Columbia taking Kalpana Chawla aboard, another 6 crew members. While taking off, there was a foam which fell and damaged the left wing, and on re-entry, this became very weak because of the high temperatures. It caught fire and the whole Columbia got disintegrated and 7 astronauts were burnt alive again. So with these two accidents, because of the proverbial, the want of a nail, very simple and very silly mistakes, it was on the back of the mind of all the scientists, all the astronomy enthusiasts, and all the freedom fighters, all the science lovers, the space science lovers. It is on the back of our mind when we found that Sunita Williams, along with her co-passenger, co-crew, Butch Wilmore, took off on June 5th, 2024 on an experimental Starliner spacecraft made by the aeronautical company Boeing. And they landed up in the International Space Station quite safe, but within hours or within days of their landing on the International Space Station, it was observed that because of during the routine checks, they found that there are multiple failures on the Starliner. And it was a helium leak. We would have heard it so many times in the news: helium leak, helium gas leak, or the thruster, the booster problem, the thruster problem. So plenty of problems were there. As a result, the NASA, the National Aeronautical Space Agency of Administration of America, and the SpaceX, they decided that it is not safe for the two astronauts, namely Sunita Williams and Wilmore, to return on this risky, I would call it risky spacecraft. And they decided that these two will be staying on the International Space Station, and the Starliner spacecraft would come back uncrewed with no crew on board. With remote control from ground. It was directed to take the splash, and it came down to Earth on September 7th, 2024, and exactly 3 weeks after that, on 28th of September, the crew 10 of SpaceX took off from USA with two astronauts. In fact, 4 astronauts to replace the 4 astronauts on the International Space Station. And while returning, then only, actually in the International Space Station, there are spaces for 2 satellites to dock and 2 spacecraft to dock. So this Crew 9, which went with 2 astronauts on 28th of September 2024, with Nick Hague and the Russian cosmonaut Alexander. They had gone there with the intention of bringing back Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore, and they could return only when Crew 10 took off from USA on the 14th of March 2025. And once they landed up in the International Space Station, the 4 crew members who were supposed to come back, they came back. And with the happy splash down on the early hours Indian Standard Time, around, say, 3:24, when the module, the Freedom module of Crew 9 with 4 crew members safely landed in the sea of Florida coast. The whole world rejoiced their GHAR WAPSI, if we may call it so. Space craft is not easy. It is definitely rocket science. Yes, anything can go wrong at any moment of the journey, and the journey was of 17 hours after the undocking from the International Space Station, early hours of 18th of March 2025 Indian Standard Time, as the Freedom module descended onto the waters of Florida coast with the help of 4 parachutes. It gave relief to all the space lovers all over the world watching the live coverage. and what a moment it was. And in the whole period of 9 months or 268 days, or whatever we call it, 286 days rather, and the spirit of Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore is to be appreciated. They never gave up hope. They said anytime their return journey can be planned by the concerned authorities, and it happened like that, thanks to, in fact, thank God for that. And it's told that Sunita Williams, on every of her space travel, she carries, as per her Indian roots, she carries the Bhagavad Gita and an idol of Ganesha, and she carries even samosa for snacks. And of course, she carries the flag of her mother's country of origin, that is Slovenia. And now let us see how the International Space Station was formed. It was first in 1998, when Russia sent the module Maria, Zarya, in fact, Zarya module, which was the first for the International Space Station way back in November 20th, 1998. And later on, after 2 weeks, the US, through its spacecraft Endeavour, sent the Unity node, and they started building on the International Space Station and made sure that it is able to host the travelers, the space travelers. And by the time 2000 November, it was ready to receive the first visitors. And it has, if you look at the size of it, it has got, of course, the laboratories equipped by the equipment, space equipment required for them from Japan and from Europe, of course, from USA, and the Russian origin equipment. You may easily add these two countries. They are the original, they are the fathers of this International Space Station. And the sizes of a football field, or maybe a 5-bedded house, as reported, it may be like 747 Boeing aircraft, 2 times of that. So it has been established since 2000, and since last 25 years, many visitors have gone and come back. Now let's look at the roots of Sunita Williams with that of India. We have already discussed. She carries Bhagavad Gita. She believes in Bhagavad Gita, and of course, Vinayaka or Ganesha idol. She loves to have samosas, and she even had taken the symbol Om and Upanishads in her so many trips, space trips. And she was born on 19th of September 1965 in the place Euclid of Ohio. And she is born to her father, Deepak Pandya, yes, of Indian origin. He's a neuroanatomist, and her mother is Boni Pandya, from Slovenia descent. And Sunita Williams becomes, after all this, becomes the woman with maximum number of spacewalks. That duration of 62 hours holds a record. And in fact, she did a marathon on the International Space Station when her sister and her co-crew members down Earth, they were running the marathon in Florida. So that's what it's all about. So great GHAR WAPSI, great return to home, and home return or homecoming for all these people, while they undergo the 45 days of conditioning or the medical conditioning in Florida. Because the longer stays in the space station outside the Earth's atmosphere may cause a lot of health issues, like it can create accelerated aging, and people may measure slightly longer than what they are. They become taller when they are for a longer period in the space. And because there is no radiation, I mean, there is more radiation, there is no stopping of radiation as that is on Earth. They are exposed to radiation, so they are likely to get cancer. And even ears work on human ears work on the gravity, and so they can be found to hear less. It may malfunction. Even eyesight also may get affected, including the bone marrow, as we have already heard. The bone density, the bone aging becomes 20% more. So uh, we pray God to grant them to come back to normalcy, speedy recovery from all these effects, if at all there is any effect on them. Take care, Sunita Williams. We are proud of you. Welcome home, Sunita, and Wilmore, and all the rest too. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with me with this small talk on the GHAR WAPSI of Sunita Williams and three others. Take care. God bless. Wishing you all the best in all your endeavors. Bye bye.